hour long, we're meeting the people behind the hashtags trending in our news feeds, and this next story has a lot of people talking. It's actually exploding on social media. I had friends sending it to me. It's the viral article. It's called "The Day I Put $50,000 in a Shoebox and Handed It to a Stranger." When I saw that, I don't fall for clickbait. I clicked on that story. It is written by our next guest, Charlotte Cowles, the financial advice columnist for New York Magazine's The Cut. The 39-year-old Brooklyn mom is revealing how she fell victim to an elaborate scam, using her story as a warning that even the smartest financial minds are at risk of losing everything. Take a look.
I'm a journalist, and I've written a personal finance advice column for New York Magazine for the past 7 years. I'm also married. I have a son who's 2. This past Halloween, while he was at school, I received a call. My caller ID said it was from Amazon, and the woman on the phone said there had been over $8,000 charged to my business account, and I don't have a business account. So she forwarded my call to someone that she said Amazon was working with at the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, to investigate identity theft. And the man on the phone told me that I was under investigation for international money laundering, financial crimes, and drug-related crimes. And that there were arrest warrants out in my name in several states. He also provided a whole story about how my name was connected to a car that had been found abandoned on the southern border of Texas with blood and drugs in the trunk. I was obviously shocked by all of this, and he soon connected me with someone who claimed to be working with the CIA. At this point, I was overwhelmed and terrified. He had made it very clear that my family was in danger. He repeated that several times. My home was being watched. They knew the names of my family members. They knew their addresses. Even though I was skeptical and there were a lot of red flags, I really felt like my only way out was to follow their instructions. And their instructions led me to do something that I never imagined I would do.
Charlotte Cowles joins us now. Thank you so much for being here. So, we're on a live show, and I know that this is very difficult for you because you are trying to protect your family's privacy while also, as a journalist, showing people that this happens and it even happened to you.
Yes, I mean, it was one of the worst days of my life, so talking about it has been very difficult and also deeply embarrassing. I mean, I think when these things happen, it is, you know, it happens to a lot of people. Scams are very, very prevalent, more so than any of us know, and a lot of people are too ashamed to talk about it, and so that's why I wanted to share my story, was so that other people could know that this would happen. It can happen to anybody.
Well, there's also a stereotype, right? You have a stereotype of an older person who's alone and, you know, somebody calls them and they don't know how to handle it, or somebody who's not savvy. But you are a journalist, you're a financial writer, you've been doing it for years, and you're clearly not older, so you don't fit into this stereotype of who would be a victim. In fact, your mother-in-law, in the article, you say your mother-in-law has described you as even killed. Your own mom has called you maddeningly rational. You are, when your mother-in-law gives you credit, you know that's good. So you're like an even rational person.
Yeah.
So when you got the first call of, okay, it's Amazon, surely this is legitimate.
Right, right. I think we've all received those calls, you know. I've gotten them from, you know, your credit card, and they're like, oh, this random person is buying, you know, building supplies in Kentucky. Like, is this you? And you're like, no. And you're glad that they called, and then they flag it and they deal with it. And so I thought it was something just like that. And, you know, Amazon does, in fact, make these types of outgoing calls for customer service reasons, and everything about the call was very professional. You know, this call is being recorded for quality assurance. Like, the whole thing just seemed very normal and above board, and it didn't initially raise any red flags at all. And in fact, it put me in this position where I was like, oh, I'm grateful that this person is doing their job and helping me out.
And also what I would have been thrown off, it said Amazon, because sometimes it'll say spam risk, that it said Amazon on your phone.
Or it'll just be a random number, and this said Amazon on my caller ID, and I use Amazon. I picked up.
So as the person started to layer on, when they start to get to, you know, your car is stolen and rented under your name, drug deal gone bad, CIA.
It sounds nuts.
It does. But I'm not judging when I say that, right? Because you think like, wait a minute, this is getting a little thick around here.
Yeah. Oh,
you know,
yeah.
But what they do is they overwhelm you.
Yeah, they like snow you with information. And the thing I think that really kept me on the phone was that when they were doing that, they were also telling me accurate details about my personal life.
Yeah.
And so that was the thing that really, I mean, otherwise I just would have hung up. Like,
But they knew too much
They
from your
knew
mind.
too much. They knew where I lived. They knew the names of my family members and where they lived. They knew the last 4 digits of my social security number. And they told me that I was being watched. My computer had probably been hacked. Maybe my phones were being tapped. They told me that my identity had been stolen by this crime ring that had me under surveillance.
And they told you not to call anyone.
Told me not to call anyone, and they told me that my family was in danger.
Was in danger. This all led to you, you know, we played her video and she just did the unimaginable. They told you to withdraw from your savings $50,000, and you did.
Yeah, I mean, no one wishes that didn't happen more than me. And there's so many things.
You went to the ATM or you had to go to the bank?
No. The ATM won't give you 50. I mean, I don't. I'm very inexperienced in withdrawing $50,000.
The only reason I said that, this is a live
Yeah.
show, I was like, ATM, what bank do you bank at?
No.
So you had to, so that's
I'd like to
another
know
thing.
about that bank.
So you can't get it, so you have to go in. So
Yeah.
there's time that you're walking into the bank and you're thinking they're following you. So it's not just to go to the ATM.
Yeah.
I'm going into the bank.
Yeah.
I'm writing down 50,000. I'm taking it and I'm going out the door to give it to somebody.
Yeah, well, at that point, they hadn't told me that I was going to be giving it to anyone.
Oh.
They had told me that because I was under investigation for money laundering and international, you know, they had told me that my bank accounts had been opened under my name using my personal information and had been wiring money overseas to Jamaica and Iraq, which are 2 places I've never been to. Would like to go to Jamaica, but haven't made it. And so they told me that because all of my assets were part of this investigation, all of my money was under investigation, and they would, as part of the investigation, they would be freezing my assets.
So you needed to get the
I need to get
$50,000 out.
the cash out, and they said that my assets could be frozen for 1 to 2 years.
Hang on to that thought. Coming up.
Yeah.
Charlotte is the $50,000 in the box, and she's walking out of the bank. What happens next after the break? Welcome back. We're with Charlotte Cowles, the financial advice columnist for the New York Magazine, whose shocking essay called "The Day I Put $50,000 in a Shoebox and Handed It to a Stranger" has gone viral. A lot of people are talking about it. So I ended the commercial break with "You're walking out of the bank with the $50,000. Based on the headline of your story, we know you gave it to a stranger. You're walking out. Any second thoughts? Any red flags?
Oh my God, totally. So many. I had the money. At that point, they hadn't told me that I was going to be giving it to anyone. They had told me that it was part of the investigation that they would be freezing all of my bank accounts. And so the story that they had given to me, and this is over many hours too, of back and forth on the phone. You know, they didn't just like come out the gate telling me to take money out. And so I came home and they had me put it in a box and secure it, put my name on it, put a number, the case number that they had given, you know, they were all very very
meticulous.
Meticulous.
But the car comes up.
So then he said that a man from the CIA will be coming to an agent will be coming to your home to tell you about next steps. And at that point I was terrified, but they had my address. They had already sent the guy.
Came to the home.
Someone came to my home.
And you gave the box.
He pulled up in front. I didn't, at that point my son was home and I didn't want anyone getting near our front door. And so I went outside to meet him. They told me to bring the box, and I was on the phone with the man the entire time. And he said, "Don't talk to the driver. The back window will open. Put the box in the window," and the man drove away.
You wrote in your article, "I went into my bedroom and shut the door, feeling my face grow hot. I had physical sensation of scales falling from my eyes, the room shimmering around me, spots raining from the ceiling. I saw the whole day peel away like the layers of an onion, revealing my real life raw and exposed at the center. That is the shedding of the fear and the realization that you just gave $50,000 to a stranger. Where do things stand now?
It's still, it's still evolving. The case is open. I probably am never going to see that money again. It's a devastating amount of money to lose, and I think, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to share this story, is that, this happens a lot more than I think most people think, and everyone thinks it cannot happen to them, and maybe this exact scam wouldn't happen to you. In fact, when you know about a specific scam, that actually research has shown that you are less likely to fall for that scam. So the more people who hear about this, tell everyone. And then if they get a phone call like this, they're gonna know better.
Yeah. And I should get, absolutely. And before we go, I should make the point as well, because a lot of people will judge. It used to be they would call you spam, that's it. Think about the elaborate steps that they took to take her money, down to coming to your address, where to put the box, having multiple people involved in this. So you were against an army of people determined to take that money. This wasn't just a phone call saying, what's your social security, you can hang up. And that shows you the depths of the scam world right now.
Yeah, it's very sophisticated.
Well, thank you for shedding a light on it. I hope that you get justice in this.
Thank you.
We appreciate you sharing your story. Charlotte, please check out Charlotte's column in New York Magazine's The